So today we have the story of the truth about Austen's amazing bats by Ron Friedel. And the genre of this story is expository text, which means that it tells a story that has real events and real information. So we are talking about a story that is not a fiction, not a non-fiction. It's a real event. That's why we call it expository because it comes from the word expose. Understood, my gears?
You're so funny.
You sound like the Western accent, the Wild West.
So do you understand me though when I'm talking like this or no?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Can you speak British?
British, of course. So,
How are they? Are you good?
okay, about the question of the week, how can unplanned situations have positive outcomes? So, to have information about that, we are going to see this video together, and then we are going to learn more and more information about Austen's amazing house. Shall we? Let's go.
It's the fancy accent.
How
of
can
English.
unplanned situations have positive outcomes? Sometimes unexpected behavior can make people upset, but other times it can be a pleasant surprise. Lots of times our actions have unintended consequences, but there's always the potential to make it turn out okay. How would you feel if your sister volunteered to help you get that ball out of the tree? You might decide to play together afterwards, turning a bad situation into a good one. You might need to see things from a different perspective to turn a bad situation around. You might feel shocked or disappointed if a good friend is abrupt with you. If you are perceptive, you'll recognize that they didn't mean to be impatient. In fact, they may be unaware that they are being rude. Perhaps if you point it out to them, they'll understand how it makes you feel and try not to do it again. This week, you will learn that some seemingly bad occurrences can have unintended results, such as making you closer with your sister or helping a friend recognize bad behavior. How do you think unplanned situations can have positive outcomes? And how it
I used to do that with my brother the whole time. Every time he plays PlayStation, I would come and take the hand and I would play instead. And that didn't make us closer, actually. It made us fight the whole time. Until I grow up, and alhamdulillah, and I stopped doing that. But yani, sometimes you have to apologize really, and you have to be not mean, you have to be like a nice person. So the other people would deal in a nice way with you. I used to do that. I take the hand and then he will have this look. Okay, let's go ahead now and open your books in the page 324, 325. So, the passage today is about the truth about Austen's amazing bats, and it's written by Ron Friedel. And in this story, it's expository text, which means that it tells information and facts. So it's not fiction. It's not a story. There's no characters. There's no plots. It will be what it will be about information only and events that real happened in the real life. And what is the explanation about it? So during this lesson, try to focus about this question. How can an unplanned situation have positive outcome? Now, from this title, the truth about Austen's amazing bats, what do you think the story would be about mainly? Huh? Maybe what is the main idea would be about from the title? What do you think?
I think
Bats, like
I know.
maybe he owns bats or.
Yeah, see, he owns bats, and I think it went everywhere, and something happened. I don't know.
Okay, maybe this is from the picture you figure out, right? That he
Yes.
has
Yeah,
bats and
in
then
the
maybe
title.
they left outside and they are everywhere now. And you see the people on the bridge. How do you think about the people? Are they comfortable? And they're seeing all of these bats?
No,
or
no.
they
They're
are
probably like confused. Why are there so many bats or scared?
yeah, maybe scared. And some people they are taking also what? Taking pictures and photos of that because this is weird. And you see these bats are in the city or in the countryside. What do you think? In the city or the countryside?
In the city? City.
In the city. So is it usual to have bats inside the city with this quantity, or it's bizarre?
No,
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre because it's odd and unusual. It doesn't happen in the real life. Usually, the bats like to stay in the caves or in a place that have a lot of trees, maybe in the woods, in the jungle, in the park, but not inside the city. So, what happened to make these bats to come inside the city? And what is the story about Austin's amazing bats? This is what we are going
Maybe
to.
they're hibernating.
Maybe what?
They're hibernating, like they're going somewhere else.
Maybe, yes.
Like holiday.
Yes, maybe they are leaving and migrating to somebody else, to somewhere else, maybe. Let's see. You see this picture right here? This is a picture also of how many bats we have in that area, and this is unusual. And that's why all the people gather to see this scene, because this scene doesn't happen every day. This scene is unusual and bizarre. And what is caused all of these bats to come through this area and to come through the city and to invade the city in this way? This is what we are going to learn. Open the next page, 326.
Where can you see a summer sky filled with 1.5 million bats? Austin.
Whoa, imagine the sky is full with 1.5 million bats. Imagine. Maybe if we have this much of bats in Jeddah, it will cover the side of the sun, right?
In Texas is the place. They fly out from under the Ann W. Richards Congress Avenue Bridge around sunset. Just a few at first, like scouts sent ahead to see if the coast is clear. Then dozens more emerge, then hundreds, then thousands. The bats keep pouring out until more than a million swirl above the bridge like a bat tornado. Finally, they zoom off in all directions, while the spectators below reverberate with wonder. The bats attract an estimated 100,000 tourists to Austin each summer, bringing in close to $10 million to Austin's tourism industry. Every night, crowds gather on or near the bridge for the event. An imposing sculpture in the shape of a bat called Nightwing stands at the foot of the bridge, welcoming visitors to the site. Even Austin's former professional hockey team, the Ice Bats, embraced the creatures. The team's mascot was a fierce-looking cartoon bat gripping a hockey stick. Austin loves its bats so much that it holds a 2-day summer bat festival to honor the flying mammals. Spectators watch the nightly display from all sorts of places, high and low. Some watch from up on the Congress Avenue Bridge. Others watch from the lake below. The bridge spans Town Lake on the Colorado River, where people watch the bats from rowboats, canoes, and kayaks. There is even a riverboat that gives special bat cruises. Some people spread blankets on the lake's grassy shores to watch. Nearby downtown restaurants have tables set up on patios for viewing. When the bats come out, the guests put down their knives and forks to watch a breathtaking display of nature in the city. But once upon a time, Austin's bats were neither loved nor admired, and were breathtaking for a different reason. To a great many Austin residents, the bats were a bizarre and frightening sight. The bats were also a health hazard, they insisted. After some debate, a decision was made. The bats must be removed from the bridge or destroyed.
Okay, my girls. Now, the passage starts with this scene, the scene of 1.5 million bats covering the sky of Austin's city in Texas. Austin is a city inside Texas. Each year they have what? They have the sight of these bats. The first time they came out, they came as a small quantity of bats. They just discovered the sky of Austin, just as a scout to see if there's somebody there or no. When they discover there's nobody and it's clear, then tens and hundreds of bats come, and after that it was thousands of bats covered the sky of the city. What happened and where did they come from? They don't know. But actually, suddenly they become like a tornado and they covered the sky of the city. The bats attract an estimated 1,000 100,000 tourists to Austin each summer. So these bats doesn't come only once and then they left that area. No, they come each year in the summertime in Austin City in specific. So Austin City people who lived in there, they know that each summer they will have these bats come to the sky and they come to this area specifically. So that's why they make it like a scenery for the tourists who wants to see and to scout the area and to take pictures of this bizarre, unfamiliar situation. And each year, Austin City, they get about how 10 million dollars of the tourists who come to this area. So they take it as a business, okay? And that's why they don't like to push these bats away from that city. Although the people in the city, they don't like it that much. When you come here to read, you will find that the people of the city, they don't like the bats that much. Some of them, they said and they complained that these bats they might make and cause health conditions to the area because the number of them is not healthy, and it's bizarre to come in this much and this amount. So there must be something that we can do to push them away from that area so it won't cause us any harm. If we know that those bats actually what they feed on fruits, on vegetables if they find. Also, if you leave them some bread like any other bird, if you leave them bread, if you leave them like cereals, they will come to eat it. If you leave them also some meat, they will come to eat it. Fruit, they will come to eat it. So they eat a lot of quantity of food. If you have so much quantity of bats like this, then imagine what will happen to the city. You will find some lack in the food. They will hurt the people. Sometimes when you are walking, maybe some bats will come to attack you. So it's not healthy to have this much of birds in one place. Birds or animals or whatever you want to call them. Even if you have birds in a big quantity, it's not healthy to have it in one area. But let's see next what happened to those people. Would they live with those creatures or they will push it away from their city?
How were Austin's bats saved? The story begins in 1980. That's when workers began reconstructing the Congress Avenue Bridge. The bridge is a landmark in the heart of downtown, just 10 blocks from the Texas state capitol. The engineers in charge of the project didn't know that their work would create an ideal habitat for bats. Otherwise, they would not have left so many openings on the bridge's concrete underside. The long, narrow, dark crevices became instantly popular with migrating bats because bats prefer to make cozy spots to roost and raise their young. Most of the bats are pregnant females. In March, they fly north from Mexico to give birth and raise their young, called pups. That's why in August, the bridge's bat population of 1.5 million is double what it was in March. Austin's human population is about 740,000. That means that in summer, Austin has twice as many bats as people.
Okay, that's nice. So as I told you, at first the people of Austin town they didn't like to have the bats in there and they complained about it and they tried to push it away. But actually after a while, the mayor and the people they made like a voting and they said, okay, what's the harm to have some bats in there? So what they did, they make a bridge. They noticed that those bats they like a certain area in the Austin city. So they made a bridge and in this bridge, you know that the bridge it goes like this, right? For the cars and for the walkers, the people to walk on it. And the bridge is above what a river. This is the side, the first side, the second side. What they try to do, they make down of the bridge under it, they make like small opening and small windows for these bats if they want to have habitants and if they want to have houses, to build houses in there. So these bats, they like the place in there. Why? Because the bats, they like to live in a cozy place and in a warm place. They found that under the bridge, they can the bridge cover them from any water, from any rain or wind or tornadoes that come. And at the same time, they can build a nest in there and nobody knows that they are there. So what they did, Those bats start with only thousands, and then after a while, after the people build that bridge, they come in a big quantity and they breed to have more bats and more bats, and we have thousands and tons of females who are pregnant to give even birth for more bats. After a while, the number grow dramatically to have what? To have 1.5 million bats. All of them and most of them live in this bridge. That's why before the afternoon or after the afternoon, before the evening time, every day, when the sun sets, if you stand in there, you will find thousands of bats come and live in here in the summer. But in the winter time, they migrate and go to another place. In the summer, they come back with a big quantity. But if you are living in the summer in Austin City, go each day at the sunset time, 6 o'clock, and stand on the bridge. You will find thousands of bats come to sit on the bridge beneath you. So if you stand here on the bridge, you can find those bats come in a big quantity to come in the bridge and to live beneath you. So now the number of them, they estimate it with 1.5 million. But if you count the number of population and the people in the Austin city, you will find all the people in Austin city, they are 740,000, the people, the number of people. And the bats are 1.5 million. So if you compare the number of the bats compared to people, you will find that the number of the bats is twice number of the people. Imagine. So I believe that this is not healthy, but the people right there, they take it as what? As a scene, and they take it as unfamiliar and bizarre situation, but they take it like a tourist attraction scene. And each year they make out of this scene 10 million $10 million. Wow, that's a big number just because of having the bats. And if we think about Austin City is a very small city in Texas, by the way, and it doesn't have that much of resources. So if they have 10 million just because of these bats, so what's the harm to have it? Because they provide some money for the area, right? So that's why the people right now, they said it's okay and they live with it. And each summer you can see this scene in Austin City in Texas.
Why were so many people so scared of the bats beneath the bridge? The reasons are based on fear and misinformation. Fear of the dark is one reason. Many children and even some adults are afraid of the dark, and bats are creatures of the night. During the day, they inhabit dark spaces such as caves and tunnels. At night, they come out to hunt. Bats' anatomy and appearance scares some people too, with their pointed ears and noses and sharply curved wings. And when people think of bats, they often think of vampires, mythical creatures that drink blood. Or they picture a great big bat flying blindly at them and getting all tangled in their hair, or biting them and giving them rabies.
Now, if you think about it, why the people at first, they didn't like the bats? Because they have misinformation about the bats.
And they looked creepy.
And they look creepy. Yeah, let's face it. A bat is not a bird, right? It's a mammal, it's an animal. And if we take the anatomy, and if we take it to the lab and we put it under the microscope to understand what does it mean, a bat actually, it's kind of animal but has wings. It looks like a mouse, but a mouse that has big wings and can fly.
And also, Miss, and also, its nose is like kind of a pig because it like has it like what do you call it? It's like up, not down, like it's forward up.
Not only the nose, but here I'm talking about why the people afraid of it. They're afraid of it because it's like an animal. It's like a mouse, a big mouse. But imagine this mouse is flying. If we see a mouse that is running in front of us, we will be so much scared. So imagine if this mouse is flying above your head. This is one thing. Another thing, that these creatures, they have a very sharp claws, as you can hear in their paw. In their claws, they have very sharp claws. And another thing, they have sharp teeth. And one of the reasons the people, they don't like the bats, that these bats actually they drink blood. They like to drink the blood as its feed and its food. They feed on it, and also they eat a lot of other food like fruits and vegetables and other things. So the people are afraid of these creatures because these creatures don't get up in the morning and fly in the morning. They mostly go after night. Why? Because these creatures are blind and they don't see in the daylight. This is one thing. They see only in the darkness. They can see in the darkness. As long there is light around them, they can't see properly, so they don't get out. So in the night, they go out to hunt for food and to search for food. So imagine if you have a bridge, and under the bridge, if you are walking in the night on that bridge, imagine that there's 1 million and a half bats under the bridge, and all of them will get out at night, and you are alone on that bridge. How would you feel? How would you feel? What do you think? Would you feel safe?
No.
No, you will feel so much scared. And if you learn that these bats like the blood and drink the blood, you would think that they will come after me to drink my blood. And not only this, because also the bats are linked with, in our cultures, in our folklore, we have it in our movies that the vampire always linked with what? The vampire stories are always linked with the what? With the bats, right? Because they said that the vampire also like the bat, he gets at night and he drink the people blood and he eats them and kill them, and then after that they drink their blood. And like the vampire, the bats do the same thing. So the people, they have some information in their minds that those creatures are harmful and they are bad to our health and they can kill us. So when the people realize all of this information, they thought that the bats are not good to stay in there and we don't need them. So what happened that the people of Austin changed their mind about the bats and why they like them and they welcome them to have them in this number in Austin. Let's go for the next page to learn more about bats. And are they really, like they said, that those creatures are bad?
Austin resident Mary Murphy remembers how fearful Austin residents used to be. For years, local newspapers had carried headlines like "Bat colonies sink teeth into city" and "Mass fear in the air as bats invade Austin," she writes. Misinformation abounded, and the bats that made Austin, Texas, their summer home were regarded as something to be eliminated, not as something wonderful to see. Ms. Murphy belongs to Bat Conservation International, BCI. BCI's mission is to teach people the truth about bats and to protect and conserve bats' habitats. BCI moved their headquarters to Austin in 1986. One of their goals was to protect the bats that spent summers under the Congress Avenue Bridge.
So one of the ladies who had a campaign to convince people that bats are not harmful, her name is Mary Murphy. Mary Murphy is working newspaper and she also works in the Bat Conversation International organization. She works in this organization to convince the people of Austin town that bats are not that bad. But she said that at the beginning, when the bats invaded the Austin city, the people were so much afraid, and even the media and the newspaper didn't help the people to understand the situation, and they made the people more scared when they made headlines like these. For years, local bat colonies sink teeth into the city, or for example, mass fear in the air as the bats invade Austin. All of these headlines in the newspaper make the people, when they read the newspaper, make the people angry and said, yeah, why they leave these bats invade our town like this? Where's the government? Why they don't take it away? We are going to be die with our children. They are going to suck their teeth in our neck and eat us. Oh my God. And all the people were so much angry and afraid. But she said now everything is changed after 1980s. And she said that one of the goals of our organization right now to spread the awareness about these bats, and they are not actually bad creatures. Let's see how they did that.
There's a saying that goes, "The more you know about bugs, the less they will bug you." The same can be said of bats. That's why BCI members told Austin residents all about the bats under the bridge. Their plan: bring all the fears and misinformation about bats out into the open, and then show Austin's residents what bats are really like. Then they will learn to like and even love the bats. With this plan in mind, BCI members set to work spreading the truth about bats. Yes, they told Austin residents there are such things as vampire bats. They drink the blood of birds, goats, and cattle. First, they lick the animal's skin in a spot where the blood vessels are close to the surface. Then they bite the skin and drink. A vampire bat will drink about 4 teaspoons of blood per day. But no, they do not prey on humans, and there are no vampire bats in Austin.
Okay. So now, this lady, she said, one of the things to spread awareness between people is to tell them more information about the bats, because the people have information from movies and from their head and from the culture and the history that it's not necessarily true. She said one of the information that the people were afraid of is that the bats are like a vampire and they are going to feed on us one day and eat all of us and drink our blood until we die. So she said that we try to spread the awareness that those bats are not the same type of the vampire bats. There's 2 types of the bats, first of all. We have the bats that are vampires. These bats, they usually live in the caves and they feed on the blood. How they do that? They go to have a prey like cattle, like cows, sheep, rabbits, or any other creature, and they will go to hunt it and to hold it with their claws. And then after that, they will lick the place that they want to drink it, like for example, a neck or a hand or anything, and they will see the veins in there, and then with their teeth, they will put their teeth and drink the blood. Those bats, we call them the vampire bats. They are not the same type who's living in Austin town. Austin town, these bats do not feed on the blood. And even though if they are the vampire bats and they feed on the blood anyway, those bats, they will never feed on the blood of the people. They don't like the blood of the people. They like the blood of the other small prey, because the bat anyway is a small creature. It's not that big. So they tried to make the people feel safe and protected by saying to them that these bats are not going to hurt you anymore. So don't worry. And it's not the same type of the bat that you are afraid. So we will stop at here right now. And inshallah, next time we are going to complete the passage about the bats and what happened in Austin and how the people accept it after a while and it become even a tourist scenery. But before that, let me ask you girls, imagine that if you are living in Austin town and you have that much of bats around you, would you feel afraid, or it's okay for you to go outside and to see all of them?
No, I'll be afraid. I'll only go out in the mornings, not.
Yeah,
Fairuz said, so scared. Would you believe that the bat will never drink your blood? It will only drink the blood of birds and goats?
No, drink my.
They will let you try with yourself, go at night, and they will say to you, you try and go there in the night and see with your own eyes if they are going to drink your blood or no.
No, it's so
Or
scared.
if I went out in the night, I would hide behind everybody. I just hide.
I want to show you just a minute. Austin's, let's see it, huh? Let's go on YouTube. This is the scenery of it. Let me show you.
These are the bats are still in Austin until
What? Again, ya Jana?
are the bats are still in the Austin until today?
Yes. This is our lesson. It's about now. How's the number? The number of it right now is 1.5 million. Before, the people, they used to hate it and to be afraid of it. But now the people are living with it and taking pictures of it, and it attracts tourists from all over America and all over the world. Let's see. Can you see the picture with me right now?
Yes.
Yalla, enjoy. This is the scene in Austin.
Imagine what it would be like to stand on a bridge with 1 million bats flying overhead. Imagine how their wings would dot the skies as the sun sets over Congress Avenue Bridge in Austin, Texas.
Wow, her voice is similar to the voice of Mariana, by the way. Right, Mariana? I feel like Mariana is reading the story now.
In the city that once feared one of nature's most beautiful creations, the city of Austin is now dubbed the Bat Capital of America. Since 1980, the bridge has housed the largest urban bat colony in the world. When the sun sets, 1.5 million Mexican free-tails depart from their hiding spots and spiral into the summer skies.
Oh my God.
Built for speed, the free-tails can hit up to 60 miles per hour and climb an altitude of nearly 10,000 feet. But the Congress Avenue bats aren't just here for you to imagine. They're there for you to experience, to appreciate, and to protect. Imagine that.
Wow, right?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm so scared.
Imagine if you are living there. It's frightening, really. But the people looks like they enjoy it. Whoa. See the number? Oh my God.
So much.
Oh my God. They say at the end, share if you are not freaked out. Well, I'm freaked out and I'm not going to share. Okay, my girls. Inshallah, next time we are going to complete the lesson of these bats, and we are going to learn more information about the bats. And are they really not scary? And we can live with them, and we can live there in Austin, or no? So let's see that, inshallah, in the other part. In the meanwhile, go through the story, please, and read the first part. And the second period, inshallah, we are going to learn together and read together. See you tomorrow, and bye-bye. Do you have any question, my girls, before we finish?
No. Bye.
I see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Love you.